Okay, so let's get started. Today's webinar is how to create an on-demand app in Qlik Sense. Today's presenter is Karina Kuregian, and my name is Shima Ozins. So, Karina, I will pass you the ball. Take it away.
Thank you, Shima. Thank you. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you for joining, and my name is Karina Kuregian, and today I would like to share information with you about how to use on-demand apps in Qlik Sense. I would like to show you first what the on-demand application generation is. I am going to show you how to configure it and set it up, and also I will show you how to create a template app detail application and bindings associated with it. So first of all, what is on-demand apps or ODHG? So let me just show you what it looks like. And I have an application open. This application, selection application, and also detail application come native with installation, come actually as an example with installation of latest Qlik Sense application on the server. And this is the application that I'm using that is actually available for you if you have the latest version installed. So here we have a selection application that has graph for carriers and destination, and has some KPIs. Also, in this application, we have a navigation point, and I will explain what navigation point is a little bit later, but this navigation point will turn green based on a selection made. So I have a selection app, and I want to be able to see details to generate on-demand application based on a subset of data that I selected. So let's say I want to select top 5 destinations. And so my navigation point just turned green, and also the Generate New App button became available. And I will click on this button, and the process started for me to generate the application. And so now if I click on this application, I am able to rename it, and I should probably do so. So this is top 5 destinations. To click off, it will rename it right away. And so now I can open the application that I asked a subset of that data to be loaded in this on-demand generated detail. And as you can see, here we have all the, so this is the functionality. You make a subset of selections, and then you create details of, you generate an application. So let me just jump back to my presentation. So let me tell you a little bit history, I guess. ODHG became native to Qlik Sense in June 2017 version. And prior to that, it was just an extension with same functionality. Configuration happens in QMC, and this is just a service that needs to be turned on. Then a setup of a navigation link, a navigation point, happens in a selection application. Why should we use ODHG? It's because you can create, you have like a shopping list approach to your data. You can upload the high level of detail of data into your memory without bringing all the data in. And then based on the selection, you will be able to generate the details. And this is a great approach, not only like dealing with big data, it is also a great approach to deal with rapidly changing data, or to be able to have specific time frame selection or specific geography. This gives a great handle for IT to be able to see how big the applications can get, because while setting up the navigation link, you are able to specify the number of rows that you want to select prior to generating the detailed application. ODSG also provides access to non-SQL data sources in comparison to pure SQL in data discovery. Also, it is possible to set up multiple navigation links in one app, which means multiple different detailed applications can be generated from one selection app. And also, you can put navigation points on different sheets in your selection app and be able to generate detailed applications from there. So how to configure it and set it up? As I mentioned earlier, it is a service that needs to be turned on in QMC. And so you will just go into QMC and then go under Manage Resources, select On-Demand App Services, and pretty much going to just click the checkbox to turn on the service. All the rest of the information provided here is specific to your environment, and you will just set it up however is preferred for you. If you do not have access to QMC and your admin or IT turns the service for you, in order for you to make sure that this on-demand service is turned on for you, you can come directly to, let me just close this application. You can just come directly to Qlik Sense on the server, and on the left-hand side, you will see App Navigation link. If you see this is available to you. You will click on this, and then you will be able to see App Navigation bar in here as well. If these two items are available to you and you are able to create new links, you are set to start working with on-demand apps. But let me return back to my presentation. In order for you to be able to set up a navigation link, you first need to have base application, a selection application created, and create a detailed template as well. And the reason behind it is because when you create a navigation link in your selection application, you actually will have to specify what template app you will select. So you will give a name to your link. You will select the detailed template application that you generated. This is an expression that will let you reduce the data retrieved in a detailed application. And the maximum rows that are mentioned here that's how your navigation point will turn green when your selection makes it to the max row count of, in my situation, is 50. Also, you will be able to select and specify how many apps you would like to generate from your selection application, and you can provide retention time, and you can specify for this drop-down will give you days or hours, or you can just set it to never expire. The default view when opened, this is the sheet in your detail application, or you can open it in App Overview. This is all available in a drop-down. Very important point to make here is publish to. When specifying which stream to publish to, please make sure the user who is generating the detail application has appropriate rights to the stream this application will get, the detail application will get automatically published to. If the user generating the detail doesn't have appropriate rights, you will get a failure. Also, it is also handy not to publish and just save it to a workspace and then be able to publish the detail application to whichever stream you would like. So creating a detailed template. One thing I forgot to mention, that after this link is created, you will just drag and drop your link to app navigation bar that I showed earlier. So creating detailed template application. What is important here? Detailed application is just a regular app. The only key difference is really the bindings created in the application. So let me just go through some basics of bindings. Let's say if selection application has a field name city. In your detail application, you will have to create a binding called city. But the binding is really it's a prefix, OD or ODO, and here is a list of all the prefixes available for the service to understand. And you will just put, make an expression of OD underscore and your field name. And then you will set it to a variable. Here's another example of a field with a space in it. And you will have to make sure that this space exists in your binding. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And this will allow, this is the reason why we really need to set it to variable so that then we can use this variable in where statements. Also, it's a very good thing to point out that when you create bindings in your template application, it most likely will not reload. You will just have to save it, and in order for you to be able to check if your bindings actually work, you will need to go in the selection app and try to generate it. So let me just jump to the server and show you what I mean. I will open, let me just show you the simple details that application that I have. And just let me just go straight to the data load editor to show you the bindings created. So here's my example that I showed you. And here is the where statement where I'm pretty much hard coding and putting the variables directly into my where statement. This is as basic as it can get for you to be able to retrieve one city and one specialty group from your selection application. Let me close this, and let me actually close this as well. And so if now I come to my simple selection, and here is my field city that I bind it in my detail application on specialty groups. So let's say I want to select my specialty group and I want to have Brooklyn as a city. And so my data got reduced, my data navigation point turned green, and now I can go ahead and generate the application. So I go ahead and generate the app. It is always very handy thing to rename your application so that it makes sense what you really generated. Otherwise, all of them will create it with a name template and it will not make sense. So in my case, it's Brooklyn and general practitioners, and click it off to be able to rename it. And this is how your app is really going to show up in your hub when it's already generated. When you want to test if your bindings really work, you don't even need to open the app. You have an app status to show you if you've succeeded the generation. You also have your selections, and the load process will show you if you actually retrieved any rows. So now we can open the app, and you can see that we just received exactly what we selected from a selection application. So let me jump back, and let's say if we actually want to create a little bit more sophisticated where statement where we are able to select more than one value. This is a binding process that takes place to be able to create a value string, and this code comes in the sample applications, which I will go into in a little bit. And the only thing that really needs to set the territory variable, then you will create a binding, and here is my field name with the binding prefix. Also, you can create a suffix _n if you want this data value to be numeric, to specify that it has to be numeric. Then you will create territory column name, which is also my field name, and then you will call a subroutine. So let me just jump to the server to show you all this. Let me just close this and this. And so here I have, let me just jump directly to my detail application and the data load editor. So here, this code, the subroutine code, you can see that this, do not alter this subroutine, because this really code that came from the sample application. You can reuse this to be able to build the correct where statements and correct value string. So here, let's just go over a little bit. So this is extended equal where statement builder, and so this will build dynamic where statements. This subroutine, if you are actually using SQL, and here's the subroutine, the build value with allows you to just create a string of your binding and be able to call the subroutines from the detailed data. So I usually move all the subroutines in one section so I don't touch them at all. And here are my bindings that are created. So this is one binding where I created, I just showed you in a presentation. This is my second binding and the third binding that I have created. And then I will call the another subroutine to generate the where statement. A very important thing when creating your detail application, let's say the first example that I showed you was selecting only data out of one table. But here I want to select most of my values from my fact table. And if you do have dimension tables, it is very important for you to actually provide the where exists statement for specific key values. And I actually want to create a scenario to show you what can happen and what can go wrong if you do not have this where statement. Sorry, there's a mistypo. There you go. And so then here is the piece where we would just use the dynamic where statement and then load the rest of our dimension tables. So let me save this, and let me go to my selections application. And in my selections application, I have, let's say I have my territories and products, and I want to select 2 territories, and let's say I want to select multiple products. So now everything turned green. Let's pay attention to my KPI. And now if I generate my application, and I should most likely rename it so that I can understand where this application, what this application is for. And so let's say territories 103,006 and 202,003. And so now click it away, and now I can open the application. And here is the problem that I wanted to create and show you. As you can see, this didn't get recalculated because I didn't reduce my dimension tables with the same values. That's why it is important to have that where exists statement to be able to reduce it. And also it shows me all my other territories that didn't get selected. So in order for me to really be able to fix this situation, I just need to make sure that this is here. I save it again. I go to my selections. I will refresh the app. make sure that I'm actually selecting the same values here and the same values here. And now when I'm able to generate, I'll generate the app. I'm not going to rename it this time so I can differentiate. But if I open this application, you will see that I actually have the outcomes that I want and everything got reduced correctly. So this is pretty much what I wanted to show you. And if anybody has any questions, I'm ready to take them now. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Karina. Okay, so I'd like to open up the Q&A session. Let me see if I get any coming in. Okay, so a couple of them that are coming in, but if you have any questions, please feel free to type in the Q&A panel. Okay, Karina, the first question, what is the retention time based on the navigation link setup?
Okay, Shima, do I still have the ball?
Let me pass it back to you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So let me share it again, and actually let me show you in here in my selection application, right? So let me just go into edit mode, and the retention that we are talking about is right here. So I'm actually able to edit my link, and so here is the retention. So I can set it to days or hours. This retention is based on a reload time. So let's say if I set to 10 days and I load the detail application, and let's say in 5 days I reload the application again, the detail application, it is based on load of the day of the detail application got reloaded. So if in 5 days I reloaded it again, starting from that day is going to be 10 days more. So that's really how the retention works.
Okay. The next one, is there a way to govern fetch array sizes?
Array sizes while creating the detail app? Is that the question?
I would believe so.
During the binding?
That would be my guess.
Could you, again, ask the question again? It's like, I'm just trying to understand it exactly.
Yep.
To govern the array sizes?
Yes. Is there a way to govern fetch array sizes?
I almost need to research to find out and get back to this question because let me just go. The thing is that it's already building an array. This dynamically builds data. I think I just opened the wrong thing, but this dynamically builds the arrays to be able to retrieve. So it all depends. You can readjust probably building the value list to accommodate this just the way you want to. But you can see actually after generating detail app, you can come and open and see what really got generated, and you can even see your value list. So I'm hoping that this answers the question in some way or another.
Okay. Let us know if Karina has answered your question. Otherwise, we will follow up with you. Oh, actually, more additional statements came in for that question, Karina. So this person, 1 million detail rows, and he'd like to bring them in batches. So I guess we can follow up with the answer, I suppose, after this session.
Well, the thing is that, very important thing to understand that you're creating a subset, right, of data. So when you make selections on your data, it's like you can just select that, you can set the number of rows, maximum number of rows in your navigation link, and then you can create multiple details. So when you say batches, it's all about the subset of data. Yeah, you can create it in batches. but it's just that many rows for this subset, and it will create the same amount of rows for different subsets.
Okay. So if we haven't answered your question, please let us know, and we'll follow up. Okay, the next question, can we add or modify the detail app to bring in additional data sources in case one needs to after it is generated?
After it's generated, no, because it's almost like your columns should be matching your selection application. So whatever if you have the same field names, then you can do that. But it's almost like you will just recreate those detail applications and regenerate them when you bring in any kind of modification to your data load script, if that answers the question.
Okay, yep. Okay, let's see here. Another question, does detail application data needs to be in memory or it can pull from data source?
The detail application gets loaded, the data gets loaded when it gets generated. Only then it gets loaded into memory.
Okay. The next question. What if the on-demand service is turned off and I have an app with navigation link? Will I lose my setup?
No, this is the magic of on-demand app, which is amazing because let's say if I go to my QMC and I turn it off and I fly it, and then I go here and let's say I open my simple selection, right? So I don't have my link anymore there. I don't see it. But then as soon as I come back, pardon me, so if I go into detail mode, I don't have anything. But then I come back, I turn it back on, I fly it, I go to my app, I refresh it, and ta-da, my link is back. And it's set up exactly the way it was set up before.
Okay, good. So if I understand this correctly for the on-demand app, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but we used to have something called document chaining in QlikView. It's similar to that, but when you're chaining to the smaller application, the data is loaded from the database. So I'm just trying to understand the whole concept of it. So I would say that selection app is kind of a high-level information where you may have aggregated data. And then if you want to look at the subset of the data for a particular airline, for example, then you will generate this detail app so that more detailed information can be loaded from the database on demand. Did I understand this correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a bit different from direct discovery because direct discovery is you're still within that main application and then loading the data from the database for example, one object in still the same application. So I hope that clears some of your questions that some audience might have had. But if you have more questions, please feel free to reach us. You can also email to info@infozoneus.com and we can respond to you directly. Okay, I'm not seeing, okay, one more question. So when you use the on-demand app, is it under the covers, under the covers, is it seamless? Is it efficient?
Efficient in which way? I'm not understanding exactly the question.
Yeah, it's not really specified, but I guess for the users, they're not really seeing what's happening in the back end, I suppose. People wouldn't know that it's a separate app.
Well, it depends who is generating the application. Yeah, they should not see. It's going to be exactly the same application if the users are given only the detail app, but if you are allowing users to generate the detail app from the selection application, it's not gonna, the only thing that they're gonna be dealing with is really the navigation link. And then it looks exactly like any regular Qlik Sense app. It's not any different. So I would say it is seamless, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Another question that I saw here is if the PowerPoint is going to be distributed. So I will make sure that it's going to be posted on the zone.infozoneus.com, where you can also see the recording of this webinar. Okay. So if you have any questions, again, please email to us, info@infozoneus.com. And thank you for participating to today's session. And thank you, Karina, for your presentation. Officially, we're closing.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.